To share our growth together.
Every time I'm able to achieve something, I'm able to make myself proud.
Killing heroic Black Hand back in Warlords of Draenor was one of my favorite memories.
I managed to find that one hidden pylon with my one Mutalisk.
We beat hardcore Inferno Diablo.
I was able to hit gold in competitive in Overwatch.
I had someone say, oh, I can't lose to a girl. And I beat that guy.
So I was able to slay this warlock as a little gnome holy priest, freaking out and screaming the whole time.
Adrenaline through my body was going crazy.
Pela caminhada ter sido tão prazerosa e pela conquista ter vindo.
A gente se sentiu muito, caramba, a gente conseguiu algo incrível aqui.
I killed the Lich King! I killed the Lich King!
然后我夺冠的时候，现场的女性工作人员，包括有些男的工作人员，他们都哭了。
Many years ago, I was doing a quest in Terracar Forest, and a lovely little mage came up and said, "Would you like a hand?" They helped me for the rest of the day. We've been married now for over a decade.
Those video games filled a void. They filled the friendships that I didn't have. There isn't a huge LGBTQIA+ community in my city. So when I was able to play a video game, I was able to start talking with people who didn't really care that I was a gay male.
But video games were my escape. When I was a teenager, my dad was diagnosed with ALS, and I looked to video games as a way to escape from that sort of reality. Everything happens for a reason, and I'm just glad video games were there for me.
I'll never stop playing video games.
There's no way.
I imagine myself one day being an 80-year-old grandpa gamer.
Playing video games has shaped me. I don't think I would be who I am today.
My passion, my interest, my excitement, they belong.
Video games opened for me the world, and because of that, I'm forever thankful.
And I can't wait to see what the next generation holds.
Welcome to Blizzcon Line, a celebration of 30 years of Blizzard communities and 30 years of Blizzard games. 30 years is so many years, and last year maybe felt like one of the longest of all. But throughout the years of Blizzard Entertainment, from 1991 to today, many of us can associate certain games with milestones in our lives. Maybe you were a little kid the first time you played The Lost Vikings. Or in high school when you first played a Diablo game. Or maybe you met your partner while you were playing World of Warcraft. That's the awesome thing about video games. They give us experiences that are relevant to the times in our lives and experiences that we carry forward with us. Games are here for us during good times, and they're here for us even when we feel alone or maybe uncertain. Games are coming home, familiar, comfortable, with a connection and a sense of belonging. And while many of us spent most of 2020 in our actual real-life homes, games became even more of a place to get away, to be free from outside concerns, even if just for a little while. So, this is pretty weird. Usually, when we start BlizzCon, the opening call is to my favorite Warcraft faction, the Alliance. Or my favorite faction, the Horde. I get confused. Usually, I'd be speaking to 40,000 of you in person at the Anaheim Convention Center and millions of you around the world. And usually, that would be a perfect way to celebrate. But nothing about the last year has been usual. The pandemic has been hard on everyone, and for many different reasons. But if there's one thing that the last year has taught us, it's that being apart physically doesn't stop us from moving forward. It doesn't stop us from connecting with our player friends around the world, diving in as warriors and heroes, and checking on each other as humans. It doesn't stop us from sharing our latest epic gaming story or celebrating those of others. Games continue to unite us. Now, to be honest, I wasn't sure how well Blizzard could work from home. There are thousands of people, all needing to work together in creating our universes, games, and experiences. Never has it felt more true that it takes a Blizzard to make a Blizzard game. And in 2020, it became clear that the magic of creating at Blizzard isn't just tied to a physical location. It's tied to the people who work here, and I continue to be so proud of each and every one of them. Thank you, Blizzard. We create these games and pour all of our energy and heart into them, but it is you, the Blizzard community, that brings them to life. And that's why BlizzCon is a celebration of you, the guild leaders, healers, DPS, tanks, innkeepers, Zerg, Terran, Protoss, Blackwatch, Shimada, the heroes of Sanctuary and of the Storm. These next few days are for you, our Blizzard community. For World of Warcraft, we'll be showing you what's next for both Shadowlands and Classic. I'm sure you're all burning in anticipation for that one. Hearthstone is getting back to its roots in a major way. We can't wait to show you how. We also have news for our Diablo community. Some of you were able to dip your toes into the depths of hell in the Diablo Immortal Technical Alpha. I really enjoyed seeing players embrace the multiplayer aspect of meeting in town. We can't wait for more of you to get your hands on it. So, it's only the beginning of the year, and already there is so much to look forward to, even though we can't yet be together in person. The Overwatch League will be kicking things off in spring, and we'll be watching closely to see if the San Francisco Shock can continue their championship run. World of Warcraft esports is back with the Arena World Championship and Mythic Dungeon International already in full swing in Shadowlands. StarCraft 2 and Warcraft 3 esports are going strong with our friends at the ESL Pro Tour. And qualifiers are already underway for the first online stop of the 2021 Hearthstone Masters Tour, with the first event taking place next month. But before we get too far ahead, let's take a look one last time to when times were a little simpler. In the early 1990s, the internet was a baby. CD sales had finally eclipsed cassette tapes. Cassette tape, it's a rectangle piece of plastic, and there's a tape inside, and music would get recorded on, and sometimes you needed a pencil to wind it and make it tight. I know, it sounds crazy. We were all playing video games on Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, DOS, or Mac PCs. I personally was a master of config.sys and AutoExec.bat. So many simple things in simple times. If only we could relive them.
Vamos a ver, que ya se viene.
The stage is set. The green flag drops. Let the carnage begin. Holy Toledo! What a collection! Now we're talking.
¡Ostras! Eso de los Lord Vikings es una pasada. Madre mía, hacía tiempo que no los veía yo. A Lord Vikings me vicio yo mucho. Como sea cooperativo, online, parece. Ya veremos. No dicen mucho tampoco.
The Blizzard Arcade Collection, featuring the Lost Vikings, Rock and Roll Racing, and Blackthorn. These are ports of the games just as you remember them, allowing you to relive the original experience of all 3 titles in 13 different languages, with a couple of quality of life upgrades. As an example, we include very modern, cutting-edge functionality that wasn't available in the early 90s, both saving and loading of games. And for those of you who purchased any Blizzard Digital Anniversary Bundle via Battle.net, you'll automatically receive the Blizzard Arcade Collection on PC today. Now, you ready to hear about some other video games? Let's hear what's next for World of Warcraft.
A ver. Las cinemáticas pintan muy bien, pero luego en el juego real ya se sabe lo que pasa.
Thanks for joining us today. No matter where you are, World of Warcraft unites us all. Whether you're exploring the Shadowlands, classic Azeroth, or another part of the Blizzard universe, I'm glad you could make it, because we've got a lot of good stuff to show you. But first, let's start with some Covenant pride. Kyrian, take flight! Night Fae, let the hunt begin. Necrolords, to war! Vintha, let's party. The world has thrown a lot at us since the last BlizzCon, and the thing that's really kept everyone going on the WoW team has been connecting with all of you. The bonds we forge with our guilds and family and friends in WoW are powerful and real. As WoW enters its 16th year and Blizzard celebrates its 30th anniversary, we're so grateful to have the most dedicated and friendly communities in gaming. Let's recap the events in Azeroth. In WoW Classic, we fought an endless battle for South Shore and Tauren Mill. We banded together to open the gates of Ahn'Qiraj and joined forces to take down Kel'Thuzad in his floating citadel of Naxxramas. In Shadowlands, we helped our Covenant recover from the Anima drought, brought on by Sire Denathrius, master of the Vinthier and traitor to the Pantheon of Death. We survived the halls of Torghast and crafted legendary gear in our efforts to expel Denathrius from his castle lair. But innocent souls are still wrongfully being sent to the Maw. They face an eternity of torment, and heroes like Anduin remain chained in its depths. The jailer continues to grow in power. He's preparing to break free from the Maw and complete his plan to unmake the entire Warcraft universe. And Sylvanas, you may be wondering what she's been up to all this time. Today, we're excited to unveil our first major content update for Shadowlands, Chains of Domination.
¿No te das cuenta? ¿No ves que no eres más que un arma para lograr sus fines?
¡Basta! Únete a la causa o te obligaremos.
Ahora mismo tienes todo el poder. Decídete, Sylvanas Brisaveloz.
A pesar de nuestros esfuerzos, las fauces siguen creciendo. ¿Y si la traición de Denatrius es irreparable? El prelado ha desaparecido, y Bastión no puede salvar las tierras sombrías solo.
Esto no debería ser así.
Quizá la reina del invierno podría...
Arconte. Un alma viva solicita audiencia. ¿Un mortal? Un rey. Hasta donde sabemos, ha dedicado su vida a luchar por la justicia. Daría cualquier cosa por servir a su pueblo. Y su corazón es puro. Muy bien. Que se aproxime. Acércate. Mis ascendidos me han hablado de ti. El rey prisionero en las fauces.
Esa cárcel no podía contenerme.
¿Por qué has venido a Bastión?
Tienes una llave que necesito.
Tú. Te ordeno que liberes esta alma.
No. Lo he esclavizado.
Como tú intentaste esclavizar a tu propio hermano.
Madre mía. Será nueva más moderna para el World of Warcraft.
El recipiente ha cumplido con su deber perfectamente. Quedan 3 llaves. Entonces verán que no se puede encadenar a la muerte.
Ya me imaginaba.
That is so intense. I know you probably have a lot of questions about what you just saw and what it means for the next stage of your Shadowlands journey. Later today, my teammates Ian and Jeremy will be telling you more about Chains of Domination in our Shadowlands update. Please check out the World of Warcraft channel to find out more. Next, I'm excited to share our upcoming World of Warcraft charity pet program. We've heard a lot from our community about how much they love these pets and the opportunity to give to a good cause, along with ideas to make the program even better. So during this upcoming campaign, you'll be able to donate whatever amount you wish to directly support our chosen charity. Once donations reach our goal, everyone playing World of Warcraft will get a pet for their collection as a thank you, whether you were able to contribute personally or not. And to make this a fun challenge, if we reach a stretch goal, everyone gets a second pet too. And here they are. The first pet is Bananas, literally. He was originally available to a select few back in
mascota
Burning
más chula.
so we're excited to give everyone a chance to adopt him. And if we reach our stretch goal, you'll also get Daisy the Sloth. She's an all-new pet who'll hang around your neck when you need a hug. Your donations during this campaign will go to support the medical humanitarian organization Doctors Without Borders, also known by their French name, Médecins Sans Frontières, or MSF. They're an amazing group doing important work around the world. We're grateful to have such a generous community, and we hope you'll help support this worthy cause. We'll be sharing the details about the charity pet program on the World of Warcraft website soon. So we've talked quite a bit about Shadowlands. Classic players, now it's your turn. It's my pleasure to hand off to my teammate, Holly Longdale. She's a longtime WoW player, a veteran MMO developer, and she's going to tell us what's in store for WoW Classic.
Hi, everybody. First, I'd like to thank all of
A
you
ver qué
who have
anuncia.
ever been part of the WoW community over the years. You know, online worlds like WoW have been a huge part of our lives for decades now. As a dedicated MMO fan and a developer myself, I remember hearing that Blizzard was going to be making their own MMO. And I thought, well, I guess I'll check out that beta. And sure, we all call the game WoW. But really, wow. I could not believe I got bit by the MMO bug again. I was so excited to be able to make a night elf hunter and be like that famous dark elf ranger from the books that I loved. I have to tell you, Azeroth was, and still is, a place I love to live. Since last year, I've had the great honor to work alongside the WoW Classic team to bring these nostalgic experiences back to life for longtime fans and a whole new generation of players. As a fan myself, I've had so much fun in WoW. From the simple things like drive-by buffing or making friends on that long haul from Teldrassil to Ironforge, all the way to the absolutely staggering, like when I jumped blindly through the Dark Portal and was running through Hellfire Peninsula, heard this terrifying noise, and then saw the Fell Reaver. Biggest roamer I had ever seen, and I was very glad I had feigned death in that moment. And that's the thing about WoW. These stories and experiences we all share keep us coming back time after time. With that said, I'm super excited to be able to share with you where our adventures are taking us next.
El WoW Classic, como todos sabéis, es el juego de World of Warcraft, pero digamos sin tanta ayuda como el juego en sí.
Osáis adentraros en mi reino. ¡Murul aplasta! Tu codicia te ha llevado a este final. Tomad mi sangre y atragantaos con ella.
Muerte para los intrusos.
Pondré vuestro mundo cabeza abajo. ¡No estáis preparados!
Vale, han sacado la segunda expansión en Classic ahora.
Brings back so many memories, right? Like exploring the fungal forests of Zangarmarsh, or being awestruck at the chaotic magic alive in Netherstorm, the Draenei in Exodar, the Blood Elves in Silvermoon. I love playing them both. Do you choose to enlist the Aldor or the Scryers in your quest to fight the Legion? And of course, we can't forget gathering all your friends to fight Illidan at the top of the Black Temple. I can't wait to relive it all with you. Since the team first set out on their own quest to bring the original WoW back to life, we have learned a ton about what players are expecting from this kind of experience. We've also learned when to keep things just as they were and where we all might be open to some changes. We're bringing all these lessons into Burning Crusade Classic, with our primary goal to bring back the same feeling you had when you faced the Fel Reaver for the first time, or when you were digging through piles of Felhound poop. Of course, we can't get this right without you, our incredible community. Soon, you'll be able to revisit Outland yourself when beta starts and tell us what you think. Later, all WoW Classic players are going to be presented with a meaningful choice for each one of your beloved characters. Do you want to move on into Burning Crusade Classic? Or do you want to stay in the original Classic era forever? Whatever you decide, you can do it all with your one WoW subscription. Now, I know I've thrown a lot at you, but don't worry.
Eso es un rollo.
We'll be getting into the details in our panel later today. So stick with us. We'll make sure you are prepared. And now we're going to hear what's coming up in Hearthstone.
Para no mojarse ellos te dan a elegir. Hala, o continúa con la Burning Crusade o quédate en el modo clásico normal. Mételo todo en el mismo juego, ya está.
Greetings. We're truly excited to share with you everything that's coming to Hearthstone this year. But first, let's take a quick look back at the year of the Phoenix. We added our first new class, the Demon Hunter, and ventured into the ruthless Outlands. Then we went to Skullman's Academy and got to explore dual class cards and their powerful synergies. And with our third expansion of the year, we brought you Hearthstone's biggest update ever, alongside the menacing old gods in Madness at the Dark Moon Fair. We launched a brand new game mode, Duels, that saw more than 10 million matches on its first day. We also introduced our long-awaited achievement system and made a significant overhaul to the rewards and progression within the game. Now, it's time to say farewell to the Year of the Phoenix and see what's in store for Hearthstone this year. Welcome to the Year of the Griffin. Over the last couple of years, we've made big changes to Hearthstone. Throughout the Year of the Griffin, we want to keep delivering fun, new experiences and make sure that the tens of millions of you playing Hearthstone are always excited to log in. First up, we'll be giving the standard format its biggest shake-up ever, with the launch of the Core Set later this year. The Core Set replaces the old Basic and Classic sets with a collection of 235 cards made up of some of the best from throughout the years, as well as 29 awesome brand new cards. And the best thing about the Core Set is that it's entirely free. So there's never been a better time to get into Hearthstone. Here are 3 of Hearthstone's legendary dragons, reimagined to feel more up-to-date and competitive for modern-day Hearthstone. Ysera the Dreamer. You'll finally receive her full arsenal of dream cards right away. She's a nightmare for your opponents. Malygos the Spellweaver. He'll fill your hand with spells and is a powerful late-game play, worthy of the aspect of magic. And finally, everyone's favorite black dragon, Deathwing. He's still as destructive as ever, but timed correctly, he won't leave you empty-handed. We'll also be launching a brand new format, Classic, where you can play Hearthstone as it was when it first launched. The Classic format will be fully supported, complete with ranks and rewards using Hearthstone's original set of cards. So, if you want to relive the old school experience, then Classic is the place for you. With Classic revisiting the past, now let's take a look to the future and explore the first expansion of the Year of the Griffin.
Para un héroe de la Horda, Todos los caminos conducen al cruce. Has venido en busca de aventura.
Otra aventura para el juego de cartas.
Te pondrán a prueba. Tu hacha debe estar afilada. Tu mente despierta. Y tu corazón debe ser poderoso. ¡Fuerza y honor! Esto es lo que somos.
That's right. We're headed to one of Warcraft's most iconic locales, the Barrens, and we'll come face to face with the heroes that inhabit it, starting with one of the Horde's most iconic and well-known characters, a fierce loyalist, one-time war chief that embodies the honor, loyalty, and spirituality of the Horde, Shadowhunter Vol'jin. Shadowhunter Vol'jin is a neutral legendary that allows you to either bolster your own board or weaken that of your opponents. And to celebrate the announcement of Forged in the Barrens, this card is available for free for everyone later today. So log into Hearthstone and claim your free copy of Shadowhunter Vol'jin. And as a bonus, we're also giving away the brand new 30 Years of Blizzard card back. Next, we have another hero of the Horde who is making his first appearance in Hearthstone. The legendary Blade Master, Samuro, featuring the new keyword, Frenzy. Frenzy activates the first time a minion takes damage and survives. In Samuro's case, this can be used to clear your opponent's board. Heroes of the Horde, like Samuro, are famous for their combat prowess, but others, like Thrall, are known for their powerful elemental magic. Take a look at this new shaman spell, Chain Lightning. Chain Lightning is a spell in a new cycle of cards that rank up and become more powerful when you have 5 and 10 mana, ensuring that they're always useful at every stage in the game. You'll also notice that they're categorized as nature spells. With Forged in the Barrens, we'll be permanently introducing spell schools across the entire game, which enables a whole host of exciting new strategies. And don't worry, members of the Alliance will be featuring some of your most beloved heroes and locales later this year. But what I love most about the Warcraft universe is its amazing characters. And our final announcement is our most ambitious addition to Hearthstone yet. It introduces a brand new way to play with your favorite heroes. Hearthstone Mercenaries. Mercenaries features strategic RPG gameplay, where you build teams consisting of some of the most iconic heroes and villains from the Warcraft universe, including timeless characters like the infamous Sylvanas Windrunner, and Ragnaros, the elemental lord of fire. You can also expect to see some of Hearthstone's fan favorites, like the unstoppable Devilsaur, King Crush, and the ever-growing Gruul the Dragon Slayer. You'll lead them in battle through highly replayable roguelike missions, where the map is randomly generated every time you play, and each node represents a unique challenge for your teams to take on. Your heroes gain levels, new abilities, equipment, and can even evolve into more powerful versions of themselves. We're thrilled to finally show you Hearthstone Mercenaries. It is scheduled to launch later this year, and we'll have more to share with you down the road.
Pues no lleváis años intentando presentar eso, madre mía.
Just a taste of what's coming in the Year of the Griffin. So don't forget to tune in to our deep dive panel after the opening ceremony, where we'll share more details on the core set the new classic format, Forged in the Barrens, and our plans for Battlegrounds and Duels, as well as our upcoming single-player content. I want to thank the team for their amazing work. And on behalf of all of us at Hearthstone, we want to thank the many millions of you who play our game. Your dedication and support is what drives us to make awesome updates and pursue ambitious and fun ideas. We can't wait to kick off the Year of the Griffin with all of you, and we hope to see you in the game soon. Next up, you'll get an update on all things Diablo.
Ahí, venga. Ya se viene. A ver si anuncian Diablo 4. Que lo dudo. Bueno, ya dejaron ver algo en este tráiler que han puesto ahí ahora antes de empezar.
Thank you very much for joining us. I am so excited to kick off the Diablo segment of our show, and I am honored to be here on behalf of all of our Diablo teams to share the news and updates we have in store for you today. We've got a lot of Diablo to cover, and I hope you'll agree with me that it's a great time to be a member of this community. All right, let's kick things off with Diablo 4. We first shared our game with you during Blizzcon of 2019, and we've been truly humbled by your response. We've kept in touch through quarterly updates and sincerely appreciate the thoughts and valuable feedback you've provided as we unveil more and more of the game and share in its development. After all, Diablo belongs to you as much as it belongs to us. Most recently, we teased an update to our campfire screen, and savvy fans, of course, understood that we meant more than just the character lighting and fire visual effects. That's right. Today, we're happy to announce a brave new soul joining the barbarian, the sorcerer, and the druid on this dangerous journey back to Sanctuary. A class is one of the most exciting things you can announce in a Diablo game. This one is especially exciting to me, as it's a re-envisioning of one of the first classes to ever appear in the series. Let's have a look.
A ver.
Tus plegarias no son en vano. Ten por seguro que son oídas. Hay justicia en la luz, pero hay que ser paciente. Vamos, reza conmigo. Que Akarat me guíe y me proteja.
Que Akarat me guíe y me proteja.
Que guarde mi alma.
Que guarde mi alma.
Y le conceda perdón.
Y le conceda perdón.
¿Qué estás haciendo aquí? No, es el momento.
Quiero confesarme. Porque he pecado.
Madre mía.
Era una ladrona que robaba a los más afortunados. Me alejé de la luz y hallé mi vocación en las sombras. Lo llaman asesinato. Yo lo llamo trabajo bien hecho.
¡Para! ¡Basta!
Soy una ladrona, una hereje, una asesina, padre. ¿Me salvará Akarat?
Te burlas de la luz. Pero esos monstruos eran una plaga para mi rebaño. ¿Y tú? Tú has respondido a sus plegarias.
De acuerdo, entonces. Estás en deuda conmigo.
El nombre que buscas es... Eres una bendición de los cielos.
¿Cielos? Créeme, padre. No me han enviado los cielos.
Madre mía. Cuando salga el juego, el primer personaje que voy a jugarlo es con ese. Está muy rota. Uy, le ha hecho un piercing.
Just the sound of that ear getting pierced by the hook is so brutal. I feel like it's going to haunt me for a long time. I've been a huge fan of Rogue ever since the original Diablo. Even seeing them come back as NPCs and mercenaries in Diablo 2's Rogue Encampment served as a great bridge between the games. With the setting of Diablo 4 being a larger world than we've ever played in before, we're excited to show you not just what the successors to the original rogues in the series have been up to since the fall of their order, but also what some of the other rogues in the world of Sanctuary might look like. The mantra for Diablo 4 has been customization first, and the rogue takes this to a whole new level. From the beginning, the rogue has been an incredibly flexible class, able to adapt to any situation. Our goal is to let you create the kind of rogue that you want to play. Whether it's an unrivaled archer modeled after the original Sisterhood, or a cloak and dagger rogue from the darkest alleys of Chaldeum, in Diablo 4, you will have the freedom to create the rogue that you imagine by customizing the looks, the background, and the playstyle of your character. Please stick around for our segment later today, where I'll be joined by other members of the Diablo 4 team to share a closer look at the rogue class, as well as some of the open world gameplay that we're bringing to the game. Spoilers, those severed ears are not just for show. But Diablo 4 is not the only Diablo game we're talking about today. If you're looking for an authentic Diablo experience on mobile, we've got you covered. Diablo Immortal has everything you'd expect from a AAA action RPG. From the visceral combat and epic
ya era hora que sacaran algo.
Bridging the gap between the events of Diablo 2 and Diablo 3. Later today, you can join the Immortal team, where they'll talk about some of the things they've learned from their recent alpha test and what's next for the game. But that's still not all. We have one last bit of very exciting Diablo news to cover. When you hear us talk about the classes, the items, or the stories of the early Diablo games, you may have picked up on the absolute reverent tone we reserve for that golden era of Diablo. Maybe you share that love of the classics, and just hearing us talk about them makes you want to take on Mephisto or Baal one more time, or maybe even for the first time. After all, some of our favorite moments happened a long time ago, and not just in Sanctuary years. If so, we have a special surprise for you today. Let's check it out.
A ver, ¿qué van a sacar ahora?
¿Cómo es que no fue culpa tuya? El vagabundo. Ya sabes lo que busco, Eres los demonios de mi sueño. Inaceptable. Mira lo que han hecho conmigo. Diablo, la puerta está lista. Aunque esta puede ser nuestra hora más tenebrosa,
El Diablo 1, madre
también
mía.
puede ser tu momento de mayor gloria.
O es el 2 o es el 1. El 2.
Ni siquiera la muerte puede librarte de mí.
After more than 20 years, the Dark Wanderer has returned. And once again, he travels east, always east. Diablo 2 is a landmark game for Blizzard. Diablo 2 Resurrected is a full HD remaster of both the original game and the expansion, Lord of Destruction. It takes the 2D sprite-based classic that we love and brings it into the present in 3D, utilizing up-to-date graphical rendering and lighting technologies. It also includes modernizing all 27 minutes of cinematics, recreated shot for shot with the explicit intention of preserving both the look and the pacing of the original movies. Blizzard has a long history of games that we're proud of. And when we think about Diablo 2, we think about it as a definitive pillar in our foundation. Now, it's funny to think that some of you weren't even born when D2 was released, which makes it all the more important that we deliver an authentic experience wherever you play. We want everyone to relive their memories or experience the game for the very first time on their platform of choice. And so we're excited to bring Diablo 2 Resurrected to PC and console, along with cross-progression. And for those of you who are in love with the original and you just wish it worked more seamlessly on modern computers, you can bring back all of that nostalgia exactly as you remember and enjoy the game in its original 2D form, much like we did with StarCraft Remastered. Obviously, there's a lot to talk about. Later today, Diablo speedrunner Mr. Llama will host a roundtable with members of the development team on the dedicated Diablo channel. If you are a Diablo 2 fan, I encourage you to take a look. So, from Diablo 2 Resurrected, to Burning Crusade Classic, to the Blizzard Arcade Collection, it's a whole lot of looking back, Blizzard. And in addition to what we'll be talking about during the show, we can't wait to tell you even more about our plans over the course of this year and beyond. If you had asked us 30 years ago what gaming would look like today, none of us could have predicted the current Blizzard lineup of games. The advances in technology are one thing, but it's really what those advances have enabled that's even more incredible. If you think about the people who play games and the communities that have grown up around them, the way people can connect instantly, no matter where they are in the world, the way people are increasingly able to express their identity and celebrate who they are through their favorite games, communities, and platforms. The explosion of things like streaming, cosplay, and esports. It would have been hard to imagine any of that 30 years ago. And at Blizzard, that is what excites us about the next 30 years. There is so much that we're working on. And some of it you already know about. The rest, we look forward to talking to you about it when the time is right.
Just like the real world, the worlds of Warcraft, Diablo, StarCraft, Heroes of the Storm, Overwatch, and Hearthstone are diverse, expansive, and full of potential. We are not only iterating on the experiences that you've come to expect from us, we're also exploring different ways to express our worlds and welcome more players from more places into them. And we aspire to continue to lead on priorities like accessibility and toxicity control, and to continue supporting causes that have a positive impact on the real world. We want to continue to bring those same feelings of joy and achievement that we all felt when we first defeated the Lich King, or beat Diablo on hardcore mode. Because when we geek out on those experiences with others, we can't help but see the similarities between us and feel what's possible when we play together. Of course, there are new Blizzard worlds that we haven't visited quite yet. And when we do finally unveil those games and experiences, our hope is that you will see in them what we do. That no matter who you are or where you're from, they are spaces where you can create new stories, forge new friendships, and make memories worthy of lasting a lifetime. And through it all, our mission statement of being dedicated to creating the most epic entertainment experiences ever, along with our core values, led by gameplay first, will continue to guide our way. So on behalf of everyone at Blizzard, thank you for being on this journey. For me personally, it is the honor of my professional life to serve you, and the honor of all of us at Blizzard to be the caretakers of the worlds that you play in. We are so excited for what's to come this year, next year, and the next 30 years. Now, what's coming next for the show? Well, it depends on where you watch. For those of you looking for an update on Overwatch, check out the behind-the-scenes look into the development of Overwatch 2 over on their dedicated channel right after the conclusion of opening ceremonies. There, you'll hear about Overwatch 2, new content, new features, including new maps, hero missions, talent trees, and more of what we think will make Overwatch 2 a unique gameplay experience. For World of Warcraft, Diablo, and Hearthstone, you'll get a closer look on their respective channels. And on the dedicated strategy channel, some StarCraft legends will be going head-to-head in epic competition. Once again, welcome to Blizzcon Line. Be good to one another. Welcome home. Before we kick things off, here's a little something from a previous BlizzCon headliner.
Hey, thanks for having us. We're Metallica. Thanks for having us at BlizzCon 2014. We would love to be there this year, but obviously can't be. So here we are, and this is for you.
Ostras, están un poco mayores ya, ¿eh? veremos en los otros canales que se anuncian algo más, y si no, ya acabaremos el directo de la Blizzcon.
I'm king of the world! Wow!
Miraremos a ver si dicen algo más de lo que han anunciado.
Your death will... Morta Vespa Gaia Inu.
Help! Help!
By the power! Strike with great vengeance!
Prepared! Frostmourne hungers for your soul. Your time has come. Strange.
Greetings to you. Seems you're ready for the real thing.
Watch your back.
F it up!
Hey, look at me!
Oh, looks like we got an audience.
I'm getting good at this. I am in the groove.
Done it online.
Surprise! Piece of cake.
Perdón.
Welcome everyone to our deep dive panel for WoW Classic. I'd like to start with some introductions with these fine gentlemen with me and myself. I'm Holly Longdale. I'm the principal producer for WoW Classic. A little bit about my background. I spent 13 years working on EverQuest. I started as a game designer and eventually became the head of the studio for the EverQuest franchise. That said, I've always been a WoW player since beta. So this is obviously a dream come true for me, and I'm thrilled to be here with you.
I'm Patrick Dawson. I'm the production director for World of Warcraft. I've been at Blizzard for 15 years now, and have been on WoW for most of that time. Avid WoW player myself, and really excited to open up that dark portal again as we all step through it.
And my name's Brian Birmingham, and I'm the lead software engineer on WoW Classic. I've also been at Blizzard for 15 years. I started on World of Warcraft. I spent about 3 years on Hearthstone as well, and then came back to the World of Warcraft team to work on WoW Classic. And it has been a great joy to me to work on this team.
There's a lot to talk about today.
Yeah.
So earlier we announced, yay, Burning Crusade Classic is coming. But there's a lot more to it. Let's take a look at the features, because wow. I mean, wow, right? Wow. I was so excited by playing Draenei and Blood Elves. I played both, and I will say my heart's with Alliance. And I also took up jewel crafting on my Draenei Shaman. I wanted to corner the market. Just the whole notion of having items with sockets and just exploring that whole system. I'm also a bit of a systems nerd. So I completely lost my time for weeks in there.
The Burning Crusade, I remember being there back then. I mean, it was our first expansion ever. So all the new features was like this really cool moment of like, what's coming next, what's going to happen, and one of the things that was pretty impactful to the game was Horde having Paladins and Alliance having Shaman. I mean, as an avid PvPer myself, I remember going back and trying to fight Shaman. I was Alliance back then, and just not understanding that class at all because my team didn't have it. So like I try to poly them and then be like grounding totem. I didn't know what that was, and it's just like, why are Shaman immune to everything? I don't understand.
That's not what you said.
Yeah, no, I did.
No, you said they're cheating.
I understood polymorph druids, but Shaman, why? Like now I started to understand Shaman a little bit better. We got some of their benefits. I actually like got to see totems being placed down on my side for once, and got to see the frustration of dealing with Bubble Hearth on the other.
Yeah, I remember when I was doing raids, we were always jealous of the Alliance having Paladins for Blessing of Salvation. Like people would be pulling aggro off me, and I'd be yelling at them like, "Wait for 3 Sunders!" And then Alliance is just like, "No, it's no problem. Just go."
Yep. So hey, I mean, we were upset raiding like Razorgore without Earthbind. I mean, really even the playing field for both PvE and PvP, which was kind of cool. But there were a ton of new features and just abilities with this too. As we got to level 70 and got to experience new content and new things. I remember one of my first experiences with understanding what it meant for designed by Blizzard, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because I was an engineer, right? I wasn't a designer. I was working on like the live the live ops team at the time, and you know, I was playing my class, avid player of Mage, and I kept, I sent this long email to Tom Chilton saying like, hey, you know, here's what Mage needs.
The Dawson Manifesto.
It was a well thought out forum post. And what was in it was things like bring back invisibility, let's get a threat dump in the class. And I didn't even necessarily tie those two together, but he was like, that's a pretty good idea, let's get Mage's invisibility. And just knowing that skill was coming along with some other new stuff for Mages like the Molten Armor, the Ice Lances, was just really cool to see all this new stuff in Burning Crusade.
On the other side of that, I was really excited about Spell Reflect because I was really frustrated getting polymorphed and being able to like reflect that back on the mage.
As a mage, I was not excited for you to get
I bet you weren't. And there were even some PvE encounters that had abilities that you could reflect back. So I remember that was really fun to kind of find ways to time that and use it as a defensive ability as well.
I was a hunter.
Mm-hmm. I'm a hunter now,
also a hunter.
actually. Yeah, I've switched.
But I remember just chasing Beastmaster and just DPS.
Yep.
That was it. That was the chase, yeah.
Talking about that too makes me think of like the arenas and the arena system. That was a whole new world for us, you know, with battlegrounds and the way they worked before, like the way the matchmaking happened. Usually I was pretty competitive in PvP, so I would either get in there and stomp the enemy team who was just there to be casual, or, you know, even though like we were a good team, we weren't like the best of the best. So when we ended up going against one of those teams, it was just like, well, geez, we're just getting stomped now. This is tough. Arenas gave everyone an opportunity to play against equal-minded opponents, right? Mm-hmm. So if you were a little bit more casual, you get the opportunity to play against people who weren't maybe so competitive. Or if you were like cutting edge, go for it. Like try to be the best of the best. And what was great about that is it really just, it spawned an esport. Like that wasn't, we didn't design it for that. We just wanted people to have fun. But when we noticed like, hey, everybody's playing this, everybody's like competing in this, people are watching it, we had to embrace that. We started featuring it at Blizzcon, and we've been doing it every year since.
Yeah, it's really awesome. I think one of my favorite things to recollect was the exciting zones that you would travel through. One of my favorite memories was actually in the first zone, Hellfire Peninsula, and it was adventuring around in Hellfire Peninsula, going around and doing all those quests, and always living in fear of the Fell Reaper. Because you'd be out there collecting parts from like a broken Zeppelin, and you'd be fighting off your Hellbores, and then all of a sudden you'd see the screen start to shake, and like these thump, 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 and then and you're like, oh my god, I gotta run, he's right on top of me.
Sound still haunts my dreams.
Oh, I know, yeah, it's terrifying.
Even in life, it's just feign death.
Yeah.
Like, you hear it, feign death.
Yeah, just get out of here. And then the payoff when you later go to Netherstorm, and they give you the quest, they're like, could you get me a part from inside the Fell Reaver? You're gonna have to kill him. And you're like, that guy? Like that guy that used to terrorize me? They're like, yeah, I think you could take him now. And that was such an exciting payoff to be able to like bring that full circle and go back and see him again.
For me, I snuck into beta. I got really lucky because I could see the construction
is complete without that dexterity class that's kind of like defeating enemies with finesse, with speed. And we kept coming back to just the idea of bringing it to the kind of the godfather of all dexterity-based archetypes, the rogue that we saw in Diablo 1.
I mean, you got to be excited to have the rogue back. I mean, I know that like when we were exploring different classes, like you had talked about some of your experience with Diablo 1, right?
Oh, for sure. So one of the things that's super cool is like the rogue was always able to adapt their playstyle. So fans of Diablo 1, Diablo 2 rogues will be able to create very archetypical rogues, starting with the weapon selection. On the melee weapon side, rogues can use swords and daggers, as well as bows and crossbows on the ranged side.
You know, just those sort of dagger attacks mixed with bow attacks, it's like, it just looks great on screen. With all the classes having this real strong identity as far as the animations and what they do, you think about the druid and shapeshifting, or the barbarian with sort of, you know, his leap attacks. There's just all these great things that you discover with the rogue that you can't really do with other classes.
I love that you can start cosmetically from such a iconic place where you're wearing the red armor, you kind of look like part of the sisterhood of the Sightless Eye from the original games. You know, you can maybe even add some tattoos into the mix, some scars, make that rogue your own. Or if your fantasy of the rogue is a more traditional RPG outlaw, you're definitely able to create that and put on your kind of hood and half mask and be more of a shadowy character.
Yeah, and the character customization, you kind of mentioned it, being able to craft that, the class of your dreams or your nightmares. It was a feature that I was honestly super nervous about when we started, because we've never had this in a Diablo game. But seeing where it is now, it's one of those things that I'm super excited about with where we're at. There's just a lot of creativity and fun looks, and you can be that tattooed criminal outlaw, or you can be a more noble looking kind of, sort of like thief with good morals.
Well, one of the things that we kind of kept running with beyond just the cosmetics was customization. We had this niche to fill in the class lineup that spoke to the finesse player, to the dexterity player, and just that everyone's idea of what that could be was a little bit different, whether it leaned more on range or melee. But we took that a little bit of a step further. We really wanted to have each class in our game have that one thing that makes you.
A ver que veamos delante, a ver si había algo por aquí.
And exploit weakness.
Hay otros canales, tío, que están criticando que ese juego no es Next Gen. Pero a ver, ¿cómo va a ser un juego Next Gen si ese juego toda la vida ha sido así? Ese juego ha sido en 2D toda la vida. ¿Qué esperan que sea?
I love the idea of
Es que no sé qué espero qué esperan de un Diablo 2 o de un Diablo 3 o de un Diablo 4. Ese juego pueden mejorar gráficamente, pero siempre se ha visto así ese juego. ¿Qué quiere? ¿Que le metan ray tracing? Eso, mira, me ponen enfermo. No tienen ni puta idea del juego este cuando no lo han vivido en su vida. Es que no sé qué esperan de un Diablo 4. Me pongo enfermo nada más de pensarlo, tío. Están criticando un juego que no tienen ni idea. Ese juego siempre ha sido en 2D. Lo han mejorado gráficamente, pero no sé qué esperan. Que se vea en grande. Ese juego siempre se ha jugado así. No van a cambiar la dinámica del juego porque ellos quieran gráficos súper guapísimos ahí en tipo un Godfall o algo así de PlayStation. No lo van a hacer. Es que me ponen nervioso esas cosas.
World groups of rogues around the world in Sanctuary that you will find and do class-specific quests that no other class can do. Whether it's the Sisterhood of the Sightless Eye, the remnants of that order.
Critican un juego que ni siquiera seguramente jugarán. Y ponen a parir a Blizzard de que no mejora los juegos. A ver, la verdad es que en el Warcraft 3 Reforged se podrían haber currado un poco más los gráficos y todo el tema. Pero lo que no pueden venir es a criticar el Diablo 4, por ejemplo, que no se ve Next Gen. ¿Pero qué queréis de un Next Gen si ese juego es un RPG? Es que no, un MMORPG no lo van a cambiar. Esa dinámica les ha funcionado muy bien y no lo van a cambiar. A mí me pone enfermo criticando que muchos canales estén criticando eso.
That touches on one of the things that I love that we've done, which is like connecting the weapons and equipment to regions. When you're
Pues a mí el juego me parece guapísimo. Los que hemos vivido todos los Diablos, la verdad es que tienen bastante mejoras.
It's this sort of like this, it's a subtle thing, but I think it really, different armors that you get in different regions look like they're from the place. And so giving that sense of place in the world is something that I every time I play the game, I feel it, I see it in just like subtle ways, and just really enhances the overall sense of immersion and experience. And I just want to see what's around the corner.
The weapons are also like, going back all the way to Diablo 2, just such an integral part of the class, and the ability to augment your weapon through magic, through enhancements, is just something that really spoke to us when we try to tap into the core of the class. Going back to those mercenaries that you could hire, it was always kind of cool to see what kind of special arrow shot they would come with. And it's something we paid homage to with the imbue system. All the way from directly elemental imbues like the frost imbue, which feels a lot like the ice arrows that the D2 mercenaries used to shoot, all the way to we expanded it to feel a little grittier, a little darker, into things like poison imbue and shadow imbue. Just the ability to take any sort of attack and kind of mix and match with those imbues
Once that kind of clicked for me that I could take any ability and imbue it with, either of those elements. Rain of Arrows with Frost and Rain of Arrows with Acid is completely different, right? Like you're essentially freezing the battlefield, and then I just love Poison Imbue because of the gruesome deaths that all the monsters experience. And we've had a ton of fun making that art, so it's always fun to kind of see just a field of goatmen melt into nothing. You just kill everything on the screen in a gory mess, which I never really gets old.
It's a really flexible way to take a build that you're already comfortable with, that you already like. Say you're really comfortable with Flurry and Shadow Step as kind of your melee skills, and you find yourself needing more crowd control. Without changing your playstyle, you can just add the Frost Imbue to your bar, and now you're able to use those same abilities to slow down enemies or build up to a full freeze.
Yeah, and Frost Imbue plays pretty well with group play as well, right? Where I can freeze an enemy and somebody else can blow it up.
Or also the way that chills work in the game, they build up to a full freeze. So if your best buddy is a sorceress player, your chill spells and your Frost Imbue chills will actually build up faster than if you were using a single player. So, just ask to open with Blizzard before you Frost Imbue, and you'll basically be freezing enemies twice as fast, which is super awesome synergy. So the last thing that's worth spending some time talking about the Rogue is like how mobile the class is, just how able the class is to kind of close the gap between themselves and the enemy. Even while they're mounted, you might find yourself, a full screen away and just dismounting into a rain of arrows, closing the rest of that gap with maybe like a dash, and then getting back out of there, dropping some caltrops. They can basically control the fluid motion of combat in a way that no other class can. That's something that beyond all of the other customization options that you have, whether it's the playstyle, whether it's the range at which you engage with enemies, whether it's the cosmetics, just the sheer mobility of the class lets you just adapt to the situations. Even when you would have totally been toast as another class, a room full of elites, you're able to use offensive abilities in creative ways. Abilities like Shadow Step, right? Like abilities like Shadow Realm, abilities like Dash. So you're able to kind of like use them to your advantage in a way that gets you out of a very dangerous situation by picking that one lone skeleton archer that maybe is not surrounded by everything else. You can Shadow Step there, get out of the way, and live to fight another day, which just feels like such a Rogue thing to do.
When I play the Rogue, I really do feel like surgical precision. I really feel like I can move through the whole screen without. It feels kind of effortless and almost sometimes a little unfair. It's like when I go into Shadow Realm and I'm dashing, I'm like, am I cheating? Did I just break the game?
And we'll hear more about PvP in a little bit, but I just couldn't go without mentioning that some of our most feared PvP players on the team play Rogue, and just the way they're able to like surprise you. You might be with a group of friends, and just that mobility lets them go to the middle of the group, unleash a rain of arrows that's frost imbued, and before you know it, you're all frozen. And looking at a Rogue while you're frozen, let me tell you, there are fewer scarier things in our game right now than that.
So Luis, this was like the ultimate blog post. This has been a lot of fun getting to share a new addition to the campfire. And of course, there's probably going to be more in the future, right? We always say there's a little bit more room around that campfire.
That's right. And that pretty much wraps it up for the Rogue. So why don't we go to Joe and Karina and learn a little bit more about those open world features that we promised.
Well, thank you to Luis and John for introducing the Rogue, which I'm really excited that we
yo creo que lo vamos a dejar aquí. Ya todo lo demás es un repaso por todos los juegos que han ido presentando. Ha sido una presentación bastante corta, la verdad. Y ahora están hablando un poco de cómo llevan el desarrollo, un poco de...
The one mage allowed to go.
Honestly, that's one of my favorite fights in World of Warcraft. That was a really, really fun fight.
That's awesome. Another change that we're talking about making is along the lines of the PvP balance and faction balance is...
el Diablo 4 aún le falta para que llegue.
More this game has been
ve.
growing, particularly since last Blizzcon. The more fun I am.
Y de Overwatch no sé de lo que estarán hablando.
We get to break all the rules that we've sort of established
Pero
for
es un juego que
ourselves.
está en desarrollo todavía.
Really take
El
the
2.
gloves off and do crazy things like Junkrat can dual wield grenade launchers and
Su Battle Royale,
Mercy be
por
able
ejemplo,
to area effect res their whole team at
donde
once at
podéis
super
ir
long
subiendo las
range through
habilidades
walls. It's
de
been a
cada
ton of fun, kind
personaje.
of like mad scientists making all this stuff. You're all used to using these kind of kinetic weapons like Soldier 76's rifle or fire attack like what Reinhardt's Flame Strike does. As soon as you start to mutate these things with talents, all of a sudden maybe you're doing freeze damage or electrical damage. But it gives the animators a bunch of crazy opportunities. You know, the animations are going to change to show them freezing and shattering. And if you shock someone with a lightning attack, they can shake in place and stun, maybe chain to other enemies. All sorts of stuff to make you feel like you're controlling the battlefield in novel ways.
As a huge RPG nerd myself, the first time I opened up the talent tree system, it was like, oh my gosh, this is speaking my love language. Like, I just want to plan and I want to see like where do I want to invest and how am I going to play this character.
Yes, it's so great. And you start at the bottom of the tree. Like,
yes,
oh my,
exactly.
Like Tracer gets to do what?
Yeah.
And then you start working and kind of planning how you're going to get down there. It's like, it's so fun.
Bueno, chicos, lo vamos a dejar aquí. No hay mucho más que ver. Ya se ha visto todo un poco en el principio en la entrada de la presentación de la Blizzcon, en la feria perdón, en la introducción de apertura de la Blizzcon ya hemos visto un poco la presentación de los juegos, de lo que van a hablar. Tampoco hay muchas novedades por lo que se ve, está todo bastante aún en desarrollo, o sea que para este año lo único que van a presentar así un poco que estará bien será el Diablo Immortals, que será para móviles y tablets, y bueno, ya veremos a ver cómo van las próximas noticias de Blizzard. La verdad es que la gente espera mucho de Diablo 4, pero Diablo 4 siempre, gráficamente siempre se ha visto así. No van a mejorarlo más. O sea, también hay que decir que es una copia calcada de prácticamente el 3, pero no se va a ver mucho mejor ese juego. Ese juego siempre se ha jugado así. No le podéis pedir más a un juego de ese tipo. O sea, hay que tener claro que no os desinformen porque realmente el Diablo 4 siempre Diablo siempre se ha jugado así. Desde que yo lo conozco. Lo han podido mejorar un poco, pero es que ese juego se juega así. No le puedes meter, puedes meter más, ¿cómo te diría yo? Más inteligencia artificial a la hora de que se vean mucho más personajes, mucho más combatiente, pero no se le puede pedir más a ese juego. Y bueno, el World of Warcraft se trata de ir añadiendo mazmorras porque es un mundo abierto donde tienes que hacer misiones y bueno, por lo tanto tienen que ir añadiendo contenido para que la gente se enganche. La gente hubo una temporada que se desenganchó bastante porque no sacaban contenido nuevo y era muy continuista. Ahora parece que van añadiendo poco a poco contenido nuevo. El que más mejora va a tener va a ser el Kerstell, que sí que van a poner el modo... Ya lo diré. Ya lo diré. No me sale ahora. Qué bueno soy. El modo mercenario, que ya llevaba tiempo en desarrollo. Y ese juego, pues por lo tanto, aún tardará bastante. Bueno, yo supongo que tardará unos meses en salir aún. Y ya veremos si lo sacan para este 2021 y añaden un modo más al juego de cartas de Blizzard. No sé si estarán hablando un poco del tema. Miraremos a ver. Ahora están hablando de las cartas nuevas que están añadiendo.
Classic, Standard, Wild, and Casual will be the 4 main formats available to players.
Classic's reward systems, rank systems, and seasons function the same as Standard and Wild, and Classic cards will appear in their own section within the Collection Manager.
With the new Classic format, players will have the opportunity to travel back in time and revisit some of Hearthstone's brightest stars in their earliest incarnations. And with the new core set, players will earn a card set curated specifically for today's gameplay experiences. There's never been a better time to play Hearthstone. Thank you for hanging out with us today on our deep dive all about Hearthstone's new core set.
Bueno, pues lo vamos a dejar así. Espero que os haya gustado un poco repasar conmigo lo que se ha visto. Y bueno, ahora ya podéis desde la página de Blizzard podéis ir viendo un poco si os interesa un poco más. Y nada, muy buenas noches a todos. Gracias por estar conmigo viendo la BlizzCon. Y bueno, yo mañana espero hacer un directo por la tarde de Valheim para presentaros el juego, para ver un poquito cómo va un poco el juego en sí en el PC y ver un poco de qué va ese survival, en plan survival vikingo. ¿no? Bueno, mañana continuaremos en el directo por la tarde, lo haremos lo más seguro por YouTube, pero pronto habrán directos por Twitch y subiremos los mejores momentos por YouTube. Viendo que por donde más se está moviendo la cosa ahora es Twitch, pues iremos haciendo directos allí y a ver si os animáis a pasar. Bueno, muchas gracias por acompañarme esta noche conmigo en la Blizzcon. Yo soy Kerstell, nos vemos mañana en el directo de Valheim. Buenas noches.